Hey there, gods and goddesses. Let's journey through November horoscopes for each sign. I'm going to go over the transits and some aspects that we have this month that are extremely important. We know that it's Scorpio season. Yay! Happy solar return, happy birthday, happy days, and happy ways to my Scorpios. And then we go into Sagittarius season. So the same for you, Sagittarius. Wow. You know that in Scorpio season, something has to die, right? Like there is this truth that is going to cut through the shadows because power is trying to return to our souls. And so November is a rite of passage. We are journeying through, or we are descending through Scorpio's fire. And then we are rising again in Sagittarius's, as truth born and truth beings and searching for the truth. There's a purge with illusions this month, and each transit opens up a stage in humanity's morphosis, or even your personal morphosis as well. You must say to yourself, I face truth without fear. You will feel like you have to let something die in order to really set yourself free or to move and live freely. Your voice is going to carry medicine for your soul. So speak truthful to yourself, and understanding that love transforms you. It doesn't confine you. You're moving from shadow to radiance. You're rising in radiance this month. And let's go over the transits and some aspects that we have this month. And then I'm going to go through each sign. So November 4th, we're going to have Mars entering into Sagittarius. So this is the first spark of liberation, right? After it's been in Scorpio and it's been really exploring this emotional depth that we have. So this is bursting us into movement, right? The world runs off of our willpower. Like we crave freedom, honesty, and direction. Mars here is like a wild horse, and we must learn to aim that arrow. Or when we talk about Sagittarius, we're talking about reaching heights, and we must do that from fire rather than anger. And so the lesson here is to integrate or to have integrity into action. Okay, acting from truth and not from your ego, or acting from truth and not from like traumatic experiences or the emotional waves that this month can bring us, right? And on November 5th, we're going to have the full moon in Taurus. And so the earth is going to speak to us. Nature, Taurus has to do with nature. Taurus has to do with cooking. It has to do with cleaning. It has to do with our finances, self-worth, so many different things. So this is like the body remembering its worth. The full moon is going to ground, it's going to like ground us in, I would say, our physical experience and ask us like, what are we building that is going to last? And many are going to crave like stability during this time. They're going to crave sensuality, right? Even rest during this time. The earth's element is definitely trying to restore our nervous systems. So it's helping us understand that real abundance is peace, not possession. So November 6th, Venus is going to enter into Scorpio. And so this is the descendant of the heart, because relationships can really tensify under Venus being in Scorpio. Tensify in a space of, like revealing these hidden desires and revealing these fears, like, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to possession, when it comes to other people. Those are the things that can surface. Venus is a very magnetic type of seductive energy. So its true power is going to lie in emotional honesty, And even if we must die to old love patterns to be reborn as, equals, kind of, if you're in a relationship, that is what you must do and what you must understand about Venus being in Scorpio, especially if you have Venus in Scorpio. This is where we're starting to understand that love is not control, it's transformation. And with whatever house Venus is transiting for you, you have to understand that lesson. On November 8th, Uranus is going to leave Gemini and re-enter back into Taurus. And so Uranus takes about 84 years to go through the 12 zodiac signs. So we're not going to have Uranus in Taurus for a while, and most of us most of us will exit this reality, right? And this is going to bring this silence to things that are static, I feel like the collective communication kind of takes a pause because Uranus, introduced while it was in Gemini, introduced AI, introduced a lot of mental formulas, so many different things that is introduced, but it going back into Taurus is trying to dismantle like the truth and the falsehood that the collective is involved in, kind of like the noise, like they're static in the wind, right? And it's trying to bring us back down to our grounded sense of like where we are in this reality. That's very hard to explain because Uranus is such a spontaneous, it's like an electric spark to your brain, and it's getting you to learn discernment. It's getting you to see what information is feeding you and what actually is draining you. And so it's trying to get you to speak less and mean more, and speak less and listen more, right? And in Taurus, this would be definitely going out to going out in nature, doing things that change your routine or change your reality, that can have long lasting effects, like affirmations and, anything that is spontaneous, you definitely want to do when Uranus is in Gemini, but it's kind of hard to because it's trying to change you. Uranus is changing you. And so this is like the last spark of change that you must hurdle through in order to really hear what's going on in your world. And so November 9th, Mercury is going to go into retrograde all the way until the 29th. It's going to go from Sagittarius to Scorpio. And, on the 9th, it's going to retrograde in Sagittarius. So the truth is going to, the truth becomes our belief, right? Like whatever we are questioning, whatever we are revisiting, we must revisit those things because there can be miscommunications when Mercury is in retrograde. There can be like philosophical tension that are not accidents. These are trying to invite you to review what you actually believe. Truth is very tricky, right? Because we all have our different types of truth, but when we're living by these truths, you have to make sure they're actually working for us. So it's like, don't preach what you haven't embodied or you're not living by, because that can crumble down really fast when Mercury's in retrograde, especially because of these are the two signs, like Sagittarius and Scorpio, of like the truth and rebirth and searching and, even traveling. So there can be some travel delays as well. Even delays with like classes and learning can come into play. November 11th, Jupiter is going to retrograde in Cancer. So the great teacher of experiences is now turning our focuses inward towards home. The collective heart is seeking a home, a comfort zone, and themes of family can come up, belongings, ancestry can come up. Not only is it going to be very sentimental, it can be karmically driven as well. These are old patterns that are going to come to the surface that has to be resolved, whether it has to do with our lineage, whether it has to do with our ancestry, our home, things that are going on, our children, our emotions. Like these things are coming back to us, memories. They must be resolved because Jupiter is trying to teach us that there is no expansion without emotional safety. That's kind of called emptiness. And so it's time to rebuild from your roots. On November 12th, Mercury is going to conjunct Mars in Sagittarius. And so words are going to come into play. Words are already coming into play, but these ones are pretty sharp. They can bring miracles or they could be used as weapons. So definitely expect some debates, expect some passionate conversations, passionate speeches, even some conflicts that have to do with like the public or, people who are trying to stand in power. Even you being argumentative with those around you, siblings, neighbors, but, but underneath it all, there is this awakening of truth, and so your throat chakra is really going to feel like it's burning because you have to express yourself. So definitely remember to use your voice to liberate and not wound. November 18th, the sun is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio. And this is the shadow of Scorpio, or the shadow tendencies and things of that nature. There's a shadow side to every sign, but Scorpio is actually meant to embrace it. And so in Lilith as well, as there's this repressed rage and anger, wanting to be itself. And so them two coming together, there's this there's this dark feminine that comes, right? Dark feminine has to do with sexuality. It has to do with shame. It has to do with, power and not silencing it and being able to break it. The divine feminine is very, very tricky. So there's these chains that try to keep us locked away, and Lilith and the sun are trying to break it. And so there can be secrets that surface, personally. There can be repressed rage that comes to the light. And all of it is sacred. All of it is meant to awaken your power, or the things that you have been silent about. You're actually meant to break it. And so this can turn you into like a revolutionary, wanting to speak your truth, own your truth, and not be shamed or guilted by it. November 20th, the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, so this is a rebirth portal. Everything that is unhealed is going to demand release. The new moon is going to carry the vibration of resurrection. There's a soul reset through emotional truth. And whether you have to grieve, you have to cleanse, you have to kind of demand and declare your rebirth, you must do it, because death, or parts of us that die, are not the end. Death is not final. It's for our liberation ultimately. And so also on November 20th, the sun is going to conjunct Mercury in Scorpio. And so there's revelation here, because Scorpio is meant to release, and the sun and Mercury are trying to illuminate what's hidden. And so truths that are once was painful and shameful, you're able to speak now with effortlessly. Let's say it like that. You're willing to speak now without, with honesty, without, feeling, like I said, guilty or shamed by it. You can feel that on the forefront, but you're more willing to have these hard conversations because you're really trying to liberate yourself. So November 21st, Mercury is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio. And so here, this is a voice thing. Let's just say this is a voice thing. This is a thought thing. This is the truth. Teller is not a threat. She's actually the cure. Lilith is a feminine energy, and we all have feminine energy within inside of us that doesn't want to be silenced, right? And so your words can disrupt some type of systems that are built on silence, that are built on secrets and things that we're supposed to hide from each other or hide from the next person. And any type of suppressed feminine wisdom is going to come up. This can have to do with, if you're an artist, you're a healer, mystics, priestess, all types of things. They're able to now speak again, right? People who believe in magic, or vibration or anything like that, they're meant to heal. They're able to really speak how they want to speak, and they're meant to, yes, do a lot of healing, but they're also meant to dig deep. And so this can really cure others, and it can really cure yourself by embracing those things about yourself. So November 22nd, the sun is going to enter into Sagittarius, and this, after diving into Scorpio's underworld, let's just say there's going to be light that returns, new direction, and freedom is going to replace fear. Wisdom is going to replace obsession. This can mark the start of prophecy. It can mark the start of really setting our aims high towards higher truth and telling our story or telling your story. And these are really sacred moments as well. The sun in Sagittarius is trying to move us forward into some type of new beginning after we have been, like I said, in the dungeons of Scorpio. And so November 25th, Mercury is going to conjunct Venus in Scorpio. There is this new emotional intelligence that is reborn, or it blooms. And I think that this day, or the day before and the day after, can really have tender conversation. And though it's in Scorpio, I do feel as though there can be some forgiveness, there can be some deep healing that takes place or returns back to your heart. There can be a vulnerability that is rebuilt because of trusting, right? There can be new ways that you look at how to trust someone else. And so November 28th, Saturn is going to go direct in Pisces, right? And I'm sorry, there's a dog barking. So Saturn going direct in Pisces, yes, finally, I'm actually very excited. Please go direct. Saturn, even though it's at the end of the month, but please, because the dreams that you have had, they need discipline, but they meet discipline at the end of the month, because these spiritual visions that you have now require structure. People find their callings, right? Empaths and artists and musicians and artists and all of those different things. But most importantly, it's like your higher self, your divine self is finding their path, is finding their way. And any type of illusions that we have escaped into, they now become teachings that we actually embody and build. It's like building heaven on earth, one step at a time or one service at a time. And it's definitely doable when Saturn goes direct, right? If you've been putting in the work, Saturn is going to be very happy about that. So November 28th as well, Venus is going to conjunct Lilith in Scorpio. And there's self-worth that comes into play, sensuality that is aligning with truth and rebellion, and women, and also the divine, feminine principle even, is starting to reclaim ownership of their body, of their desires, of their sexuality. And it's like beauty is a rebellion when it is authentic. We are trying to be our authentic selves, and let's just not say trying, right? Let's just say we are being our authentic selves, and there's no more shame. Everyone is completely different and unique, and some beautiful way we all fit into this realm of collective interconnectedness. And we all need each other. We all operate from different forms and consciousnesses, but it's all for the divine purpose, and so being yourself is only going to do you the best and do others the best as well, showing up as yourself. But it's like you have more confidence to do that, even though it can be hard, right? So Mercury is going to go direct on the 29th in Scorpio. And there is this, I would say, this silence for a second about whatever was confusing you now becomes clear. The story that you continuously told yourself, it now starts to make sense now. The mind's chaos is the soul's classroom. We're meant to develop here on the physical plane, and our soul is meant to learn lessons, and we're meant to see things and hear things and feel things and really try to, aim towards our soul development, In my belief, we're not actually physically here. We are here through light and consciousness and things of that nature. And we're all energy. And so Scorpio is going to get us to deeply think about those things and return with a clearer mind, but one that is really settled in wisdom. It's like learning from learning from life experiences and actually transmuting them and transforming them into something that actually matters, becoming one with your experiences and your shadows instead of neglecting them and feeling bad about them. So November 30th, this is the last one, and then we're going to move on to, I can't believe I made this 20 minutes, but wow, there's a lot going on this month. So Venus is going to be moving into Sagittarius, and so there's freedom in love, there's freedom in joy and art, and after transformation, Venus being in Scorpio, and after, deep deep deepening of connections or relationships or merging with the next person and deepening your trust in the next person, like the heart can reopen. There's this love that becomes a spiritual quest to explore, to laugh again, to live out loud, to own your truth as well. And here, only love that honors freedom you can actually endure, or others can actually endure. We can't be locked up in boxes and cages. We have to allow ourselves to love freely. It's the highest vibration on this realm. And so yes, let's get started. We're going to start with Aries. What's up, Aries? November cracks open your controlling tendencies and invites you to surrender. You are entering a phase where deep emotional truths are going to come to the light, and the kind that challenges your pride and your freedom of the heart. You may feel tested in your sense of power, especially in intimate or financial connections. This is the month that reminds you that strength doesn't come from dominance. It actually comes from trusting in yourself, maybe even trusting in others, but most importantly, trusting in the unseen, in your intuition. And these are the cycles of release and renewal for you. Something that once scared you, or you once have been so fearful of losing, could come your greatest source of wisdom. You are shedding this old armor, and this month is asking you for vulnerability, to trust what you cannot control. And finances and shared energy, they can test your patience, but after these tests, transformation follows. You're able to emerge anew and beautifully be merged with your mystical side, or the side of you that you could have been ashamed of or even angry at, right? You are able to now be vulnerable towards those parts of yourself. And so that's all I have for you, Aries. I hope that was helpful. Don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I go in depth about what's going on this month, and this is going to affect all rising signs. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Aries. What's up, Taurus? Taurus, November is going to bring up partnerships, and it can be very intense this month. And it's not just surface level romance. This is soul level reflection. Someone may mirror your deepest fears about love, about commitment, or even about control, about manipulation, and and the darker sides of partnerships. You have to understand that the mirror does not lie. What you see in others is going to reflect your own evolution. You're learning emotional freedom, and that's through intimacy. That's through seeing yourself and other people. Love, power, control. These are themes that are going to rise for you. So, you're learning also that attachment cannot replace emotional honesty. The universe is trying to ask you to face parts of yourself you project onto others, or others project onto you. What do you crave in them, Taurus, right? What do you crave? What are you afraid to give yourself? Pay attention to that this month. This November is going to bring powerful clarity to you. True love is not possession, it's presence. It's the courage to love freely without the fear of losing. You're not losing yourself. Even if we lose people in this life, Taurus, we're learning from them. We're never losing parts of ourselves. Even though it feels like that, I'm not going to lie, it definitely feels like you're losing a part of yourself, or a part of yourself that you've known with this person is going away. But truly, it's meant to make you stronger, to see parts of yourself so that you can embark on your own evolution, Taurus. So that's all I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And don't forget to watch the beginning of the video because I go a lot more in depth about the transits and aspects that you're going to have this month. Excuse the dog. Oh my goodness. And it's very impactful for each rising sign. So don't forget to watch that. I'll see you in the next video, Taurus. Bye. What's up, Gemini? November turns your attention towards patterns that quietly drain your energy. Your habits, your health, your routines reveal what you have ignored. And November is going to push you to clean your emotional clutter. There's healing, of course, that's going to take place, but these are happening in these small daily acts or daily choices that actually honor your peace. Please pay attention to those. It's like you're cleaning out your inner home, your inner house, right? And even the unspoken habits, the ones that bring emotional clutter, right? And the ones that have you in corners of self-doubt, and the ones that you hide away behind productivity. You're really going to be pushed to slow down and re-examine what works for you, really, and what really works. You are having to ask yourself, are you working from fear or are you working from love? Health and balance are going to come from honesty within yourself now. And the healing here isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's on a cellular level, it's on a spiritual level, it's on a mental level. You are rebuilding a foundation that finally honors and supports your truth. Definitely think more about what you have ignored. I mean, it's going to come up, of course, but do not be ashamed of it, or do not let yourself fall into, depths of despair because of these, things that we do on a daily basis. It's like, damn, I've been doing this, but I should have been doing this. The healing really starts when you allow yourself forgiveness and you allow yourself to really re-examine and slow down and, I won't say push yourself, definitely rest if need be, but also, you have to do things out of love because fear is the lowest frequency that we can really operate from. Okay, Gemini, so that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And don't forget to watch the beginning of the video because I go in more about what's going to happen for this month, and it's definitely going to affect each rising sign and the collective consciousness. Couldn't get that word. So I'll see you later, Gemini. See you in the next video. Bye. What's up, Cancer? So Cancer, Jupiter is going to go retrograding your sign this month. And if you have a later degree Cancer or Cancer placements or any water signs at a later degree, I would say from 22 to 26, you're going to feel this the most. And so November is a month that you may rediscover joy, whether it's through something you thought that you lost, a dream, a passion, or even parts of yourself that you have buried to protect your heart. This month's energy is going to remind you that love and wisdom come from self-acceptance first. You can't nurture everyone without feeding your own soul. And so November is trying to teach you whatever you want to create for the sake of healing, whatever you want to love, even, you have to do it without expectations. And that's kind of funny to say, or funny to even like come out my mouth, because it's like Cancer is a sign of remembrance, really like remembering what the teachings and the blueprint and even memories and things of that nature. So it's like you're doing these things from a heart-centered place, and you have to be really mindful of what is teaching you about self-worth this time, and letting love come naturally and not as a rescue. So you're here to remember that joy is your birthright and it's not a reward, Cancer. And you're learning a lot with Jupiter in your sign, and you're expanding so much that of course you have to protect your heart, but you can't protect your heart from the truth. You can't protect your heart from the sadness. You know what I'm saying? You have to feel through these things and even dream more, become bigger. That passion, go after it. Parts of yourself that you've buried, let it be free. Let your self-expression, your pleasure, your love actually take center stage, but make sure that it comes with depth, that it comes with truth, and honesty, and confidence, like no more distractions. And even pleasure can teach you about self-worth, right? And things that we enjoy can teach us about self-worth, even our own creativity. Those things don't not have to be perfect, but they do have to inspire us, right? And so, yes, think about your creative spark, Cancer, and don't try to hold on to old emotional attachments, because you might have to let those go. So yes, that's all I have for you, Cancer. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I'm going over the transits and aspects of the month that are important, and they're going to affect each rising sign. Okay, so bye, Cancer. See ya. Hey, Leo, what is up? And so let's get into your November horoscope. You are not being haunted by your past, Leo. Let's just say that you're being invited to understand it differently. You may realize how much your adult identity has shaped your means about survival, rather than the truth. And now the universe is handing you the power to rewrite your story. And security isn't just about four walls. It's about self-trust. It's about self-enlightenment, self-mastery, self-embodiment, but most importantly, embodying the self in the physical plane. And the more you nurture your inner child, the stronger and freer that you feel in your outer life. The more your outer life becomes more centered, and it feels like safety. Your home, your family, even your inner safety become very sacred ground. You are now rewiring. That word is funny, right? You're now readjusting to generational stories that, whether it's through courage, whether it's through self-respect, you're trying to build a home that really mirrors your spirit and not your past. So the things that we have learned oh my goodness, what is going on, Leo? The generational things that we have learned or stories that we have been told in the past, or the ones that we even tell ourselves and live through, we have to understand how those have shaped our adult identity. And some of those things are based off of survival, because we can feel as though we have lived these experiences. We must hold on to this experience in order to move forward in life. And it may have helped us at one time in life, but it isn't going to help you now. It's going to help you to confront it and to see the truth behind it. Is it really your truth, or something you've been told, taught, and programmed to believe, Leo? You have to really understand that your path is not your spirit. Your past is not your spirit, right? Your spirit has is developing here, and your past is meant to teach you. It's meant to uplift you in some type of way when you understand the lesson behind it. So definitely understand that you are on sacred grounds. You're not crazy, you're not wrong, Leo, but also your soul and your spirit is being pushed to build a home from within yourself, and to get in contact with your inner child, and to bring out these even childhood experiences can come up. Oh my goodness. These childhood memories can come up as well, but it's asking you to really reinterpret them, and like I said, you're not being haunted. You're not crazy, Leo. You just have to really look at yourself and really stand firm and center within yourself. So yes, that's all I have for you, Leo. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Leo, don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I go over the transits and aspects that are important for you. And of course, the sun, wherever the sun is going, so are you. So the sun is going to be in Scorpio, and it's going to be in Sagittarius. So keep those things in mind and watch the beginning of the video. I'll see you on the next video, Leo. Bye. November is about conversations, and the way I said it was like, that's about conversations, but I'm just gonna say it's about conversations, because your ruler Mercury is gonna be going into retrograde. But it's about speaking your truth, and words are definitely gonna cut deeper now. And so these conversations can reveal secrets, clarity, and it's important for you to stay honest even when it's uncomfortable. Truth is your liberation this month, and words become armor and mirrors this month. And it's very important, like I said, you're speaking your truth, because it may not always be easy to hear from yourself or from others, but these conversations are going to really stir up this emotional ground and expose secrets and or even hidden motives. It isn't about judgment, it's about liberation. And you're learning how to use your voice as a healing instrument instead of a shield. And November is going to ask you to balance like logic with empathy. And the more that you communicate with authenticity, and the more that you try to find peace within, well, that's difficult, right? But you're speaking from a place of peace. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're speaking from a place of peace. Oh my goodness, peace. The dog barking has gotten into my head, Virgo. But you'll find yourself in better relationships, because you're speaking to resolve something, not to be right, not to control, not to speak from fear or losing something, but you're trying to speak in your relationships and your partnerships. And these can be any type of relationships and partnerships, right? Because Saturn is going to go direct in your seventh house. So it's kind of like you have to speak with a bit of maturity, even though it might hurt, even though it might seem cold, it might seem distant. You have to really balance your logic with empathy, and balance your I want to say coldness, but your need to control. Like, I must keep things in order for them to go right. Like this, the next person is delusional, or they, you know what I'm saying, or they don't think like you think. Be open to communication and open to like resolving something, right? Because we can always learn from others, especially as Mercury's in retrograde for like a good 20 days. Virgo, be mindful of the things that you say, the things you say, because your words can really cut deep. But they are meant to reveal secrets or hidden matters and bring you clarity. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, Virgo. Excuse me, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And Virgo, don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I go in more about what to expect this month with each transit, and some aspects as well that's important for you. Definitely the Mercury retrograde is important for you, so go listen to that, Virgo. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, Virgo. Hey, Libra, what is up? So self-worth, let's just talk about November, right? I'm going to jump straight into it. This month is about confrontation with your self-worth. So your self-worth is truly going to meet a rebirth. You are learning to stop negotiating, or even negating your value for acceptance. There can be a financial, emotional power shift that pulls you back into command of your life. This month is about you finding moments where your value feels questioned, or you facing these moments. Let's just say, not finding them. You're going to be facing these moments where you definitely can feel the deeper meaning of things about your self-worth, and even some insights about them as well. And this can happen by others. It can happen by being your own inner critic, but this is your initiation into unshakable self-doubt. Old financial and emotional patterns that keep you small are dissolving, and you are here and meant to realize that your worth is not about negotiation. It is not really up for grabs. It's actually supposed to be a fact, and a matter of fact of what you believe. And so as Venus, is going through Scorpio, which is your second house, you're going to attract deeper forms of abundance. And it doesn't have to do with money all the time. It can be about respect. It could be about loyalty. It could be about intimacy that's rooted in equality. Power and peace can coexist, Libra. And you have to really remember that this month, okay? So that's all I have for you, Libra. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And don't forget to watch the beginning of the video. I go over the transits and aspects that you can expect this month. That is very important for each rising sign. So see you on the next video. See you on the next video, Libra. Bye. Happy solar return, Scorpio, and happy days, happy ways, happy everything to you, Scorpio. This is a time of rebirth. This is your solar return, no going back. The person that you were last time is not this person that you are becoming. You are emerging anew, and the spotlight feels very raw for you, but it's very necessary. And it's not like, even the dog is barking right now. The dog is like scared to go into the undertides of Scorpio. But you're not who you were, right? And this month is definitely going to confirm it. Power meets softness. You are now mastering both. You're shedding this final layer of who you used to be. And this month is bringing you this illumination. And it's not the easy kind, right? It should be easy because this is something that you're used to. But it's the kind that comes from facing yourself after darkness, right? And what I mean by darkness, these are your own shadows, Scorpio. And sometimes it's not always easy to face those things, right? Because you're standing between endings and beginnings and witnessing yourself transform in real time, whether others see it or not. This is you seeing it within yourself. And like, even people might sense your intensity more than ever during this time, but you don't owe anyone an explanation, Scorpio. You are learning that softness is not actually weakness. It's your new form of power. And November is going to help you birth a new you. And one that actually knows about their magic, and that doesn't come from control, but it comes from surrender. It doesn't come from manipulation. It doesn't come from any type of mental, psychological entanglements with the next person. This is you shadow boxing your own shadows and winning, right? And so this month is extremely important for you when it comes to the new you, the new version of yourself. And you're not, of course, it's not a new you, but it's an upgraded version of you, Scorpio. A more embodied version of your power. This is sacredness for you. It's a beautiful way, to evolve here, because you're going to have a new moon in your sign as well, right? And your ruler Pluto is currently in Aquarius, right? So it's like, by you changing, you're changing the world in more ways than one that you can imagine. You're changing your direction of your lineage. You're changing the direction of your emotional body. You're changing your home. You know what I'm saying? When I mean your home, like wherever you lay your head, or it can be your home within yourself. You are inviting these endings in, but new beginnings come right behind it, and they're more fulfilling and they're more aligned with your authentic self. Okay, Scorpio, so that's all I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I will see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I go more in depth about what to expect for all of the you're going to have so many conjunctions in your sign: Lilith, Mars, Mercury. Please go watch the beginning of the video, because it goes in more, like I said, about what to expect this month, the aspects in the transits. So it's very important for each rising sign as well. So I'll see you, Scorpio. Bye. What's up, Sagittarius? Happy solar return. My November Sagittarius is the start of November season. The start of Sagittarius season happens in November. So if your birthday is in November, this is going to be your solar return. So happy days to you, happy ways, and what a reset that you have going on. And I think that this month in November is a sacred pause between the next leap or the next step. You need solitude more than you need action, and letting go of you need to figure out what you need to let go of before you are launching yourself into the next phase of life. Mars is going to be fueling your first house, and your spirit is going to whisper patience as well, though, because Mars in the first house makes us a doer, makes us want to charge at things. But you must rest and understand that rest is not a retreat. It's an alignment, right? And the world may think it doesn't really matter what the world thinks, but your soul knows that you are actually incubating something that is like profound. And when Mars is igniting your first house, or your inner fire, the cosmos is asking you to move forward, but to reflect before you act. Mercury is going to be in retrograde in your sign as well, in a conjunction to Venus in your sign as well. I believe it's Venus actually. Scorpio, Sagittarius. Don't forget to watch the beginning of the video because I go more in. I talk about more of the aspects and the conjunctions that are gonna happen for you this month, and those are very important, and weigh heavy on your consciousness. But understanding that rest is your weapon now, right? Even thinking before you act. There can be secrets, there can be dreams, there can be spiritual awakenings that happen, and they visit you in these quiet moments. And so I feel like the deeper lesson here is not every battle is external, some are internal. And because this is your solar reset month, this is truly about what you are rebuilding behind the scenes, even with a lot of action going in your 12th house as well. You're carrying this into a new chapter and a new purpose, right? And so that takes us way, not I won't say way off our path, is definitely in alignment, but what we thought before, what you think at the beginning of the month, you're not going to think at the end of the month. You are evolving very quickly, very rapidly, especially with Mercury in your sign, Mars in your sign. You're definitely heading towards a different type of height. And even if whatever the world thinks, as I said, whatever people think about you, it doesn't really matter during this time, because you're setting your sights higher and you're actually going to reach them when you're moving from inner strength and inner courage and inner knowledge. Yes, that's all I have for you, Sagittarius. I keep saying Scorpio because there's just so much happening in your 12th house. You have the Lilith conjunction. You spend time alone, Sagittarius. Please do. Like, you're going to have so many insights that quietly just like awaken your mind. That's all I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Sagittarius. What's up, Capricorn? Capricorn, you are seeing clearly who's aligned with your vision and who is not. November invites you to redefine what community means to you. And leadership for you isn't about control. It's about resonance. And you're stepping into this version of yourself that inspires without needing to perform, and letting go of these old expectations of belonging. Your chapter begins with the people that speak your soul language, right? And it calls in those people that speak your soul language as well, like friendships and alliances. These are going to evolve for you. What's real is going to remain, and what drains you is actually going to dissolve. So you're being called to lead through authenticity and not control. And your influence is going to deepen, through inner truth. And even when it comes to like judgment, no judgment. You don't have to judge the next person. Like, your relationships and alliances are going to come under this cosmic truth, and you're meant to observe them, not meant to judge them. You're meant to redefine what it means, or community, or connection, or even like our friendships. Even your deeper visions that you have for like life. What does it actually all mean? What is it? Why are you headed towards that decision, right? And even though, like, are you expected to? These are things that you have to let go of. You have to surrender to what is truly aligned with you, not just what people speak over you and say. And, Mercury's going to go retrograde in your 12th house, and so this is very mindful of, like, you have to be mindful of what is speaking to your soul and what is just speaking up in your mind, right? And what's speaking and like what's not, I wouldn't say was not resonating, but yes, kind of what doesn't resonate. We can still subscribe to things that don't resonate with us, and we do it just because we think that we have to. And this month, Capricorn, you're not expected to do that, and you can't do that. Like, you can't control alignment, right? Alignment is alignment. You feel it, you move in it, and you're directed by it. And so you have to be very truthful about these things and about what you feel, most importantly, right? That's definitely going to fuel your vision and your journey. So yes, Capricorn, that is all I have. Don't forget to watch the beginning of the video because it goes in more in depth about the transits and aspects that you can expect this month, and it's important for each rising sign. So I'll see you guys in the next video, Capricorn. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. See you, Capricorn. What's up, Aquarius? Okay, so November is going to test your sense of direction. And this is a divine test, right? It's like a professional life can shift, or you can be directed inward towards something that feels more aligned with your authentic voice. And it's not about status anymore. It's about meeting. It's not about work, like the people that, I wouldn't say, the people that hold authority into your life, quote unquote. You know, you're learning to lead with heart and not obligation. You know, you're not obligated to those things or people or other people's authority. You have your own. So you have to trust that what's ending isn't failure. It's about realigning what you have. It's about realignment, but also getting what you actually prayed for. You are evolving from effort to embodiment, and from chasing success to living in your truth. Your reputation and even some type of direction shifts, as I said, they're going to be for the better. And what clears your path is meant, it has a purpose. What's cleared out from your path is leaving your past has a purpose. You know, November is trying to test your commitments to a vision, to what truly matters. And the focus really comes to what is your purpose? What is your path? And what is your sense of direction? You know, this, like I said, these are divine tests, and you could be offered different opportunities, right? Or different things can be taken away from you or shifted and readjusted this month in order for you to figure out what is true, what is real, you know, what is real to you, and what feels right to your soul. So, you know, if things are not aligned with you, you're definitely going to start to see that this was just like a status update instead of like a soul upgrade. So yeah, there can be so many different things that happen for you, but I think that because there's so much action in your 10th house, you know, the deeper lesson here is, where is your life headed, Aquarius? And it can't be headed with other people's authority. You have to lead by your own head. You know what I'm saying? You have to lead your own life, right? And Mercury retrograde in your 10th house as well, even the 9th or the 10th, is adjusting the way that you see the world, think about the world, and the way that you're approaching the world. And so the when it's in retrograde for like 20 days, even the whole month, it's important for you to pay attention to what you have committed your vision to. You know, what are you putting your time and energy towards? And if it's even still true for you, Aquarius, things can change and shift. Especially with Pluto in your sign, you know, there's just upgrade after upgrade after surrender, after shadow dancing, shadow boxing. There's so many things that you're fighting through, Aquarius, in order to really dig deep, you know. So yes, best of luck to you, Aquarius. This is going to be a great month of transformation for you, and also finding a better voice that is not just in obligation, but that's from the heart, right? So yes, Aquarius, I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to watch the beginning of the video because I go in more detail about the transits and aspects that's happening for this month that can be very important for each rising sign. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Aquarius. What's up, Pisces? So Pisces, November is asking you, what is the truth that you're going to live by? And is it still serving you? You remember that Saturn is going direct in your sign for the last time? Thank Goddess, right? So you are crossing this threshold of old certainty into this new wisdom. There's a journey ahead of you that requires trust, you know, but your spirit already knows the way. You are a sign that is the high priestess, the magician, you know, all types of mystical and spiritual things that you must embody here. You have feeling and intuition inside of you and direction. And so you have faith, Pisces. Let's just say that. And that is something that becomes your compass again. And something in you expands. You know, it could be a new calling, it could be a new belief, it could be opportunity. But this growth is going to require for you to trust in yourself. You know, it's going to require for you to trust in the universe and what it has in store for you. And you're being asked to leap before you can actually see. You know, I think that this expansion definitely returns to you, but with deeper roots this time. You are rediscovering faith, and not as a belief system, but as an experience. You know, the world is opening up to you through studying, through revelation, through travel. And it's not about escaping anything. You can't really escape what's on your path, you know? Even though, like I said, Saturn, your sign kind of, it's like if you've been putting in work, it's definitely going to bring results. But if you've been trying to escape, you're going to have to reconnect yourself back with yourself. Excuse me. So it's like your vision is going to broaden, and you have to let go of fear-based stories. It's not going to work anymore for you, Pisces. And you have to really figure out what's serving you and what is not, and move in the direction of newfounded wisdom. You know, you're going to have to trust in yourself. That's the best way that November is going to describe you. You're going to have to trust in yourself, Pisces. You're going to have to trust in what lies ahead of you. Trust in what you can't see, but what you can feel. If you know there's better out there for you, if you know you're expanding, let's just say literally, you're expanding what you believe in, your experiences. You're having different experiences, you know, even when it comes to your life direction, your career, you know, because Saturn is going direct. You cannot fear yourself or fear your own power, or let people hold fear and shame and guilt over you. You must release yourself because you are something mystical. And so you have to really dive deep into that part of yourself. And like I said, you know, Saturn is, if you've been doing it, you're going to find so many rewards reaping behind you. If you haven't, you're going to be cracked open. You're going to be cracked open and feel very raw, and feel like the only way out is the way in. So yes, that's all I have for you, Pisces. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And don't forget to watch the beginning of the video, because I go more in detail about what to expect this month, especially with Saturn in your sign again, and doing its last final passage through Pisces. And so that's fun, right? Because I'm a Pisces rising as well. So it's definitely teaching us a lot more lessons that we thought that we have gotten over. So definitely go watch that part of the first part of the video, Pisces. So yes, I'll see you. Bye, Pisces.